This is Matteo Gassini and Lorenzo Profeta. They just gave a nearly 10-year-old Pokemon its first 2 top 8 finishes at the very same major tournament. As a matter of fact, not only was this nearly 1,000 player tournament in Turin Lycanroc's first top 8 finish, but it was the first time that this Pokemon has ever seen any real success or usage in competitive Pokemon. With 11 total players using this Pokemon at the event, and 8 of them finishing with a record good enough to earn points towards qualifying for the World Championships, that's a 72% conversion rate on points from players using what would have been considered, going into this tournament, a very risky pick. But why hasn't Lycanroc seen much, if any, success leading up to this tournament? Lycanroc Dusk form debuted in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon to very little fanfare, where its midday form is known for its high speed, access to solid coverage options, and Sand Rush to go even faster, and its midnight form is known for its increased bulk and inability to miss attacks. Lycanroc Dusk has always been the odd one out, with it being a slightly slower form than its midday form with a marginal increase in attack. What has always stuck out about Lycanroc Dusk form has been its access to the very rare ability of Tough Claws. This ability causes Lycanroc's contact moves to have a 30% increase in power. However, as a rock type, it has very little rock type attacks that actually make contact to take advantage of this ability, with its only one being its signature move of Accelerock, which is effectively a rock type quick attack. Besides that move, only non-rock type moves will be boosted through Tough Claws, which, while useful, has never resulted in it ever being used over its faster counterpart. That being said, Lycanroc Dusk has managed to instantly become a solid pick in the Pokemon Champions Regulation MA metagame, at least on this one team. Lycanroc Dusk's higher speed tier, combined with its solid rock-type damage off of Rock Slide, is a highly desirable trait that has led to Pokemon like Aerodactyl and Hisuian Arcanine seeing increased usage over the past few official tournaments. Lycanroc Dusk can be seen as a marriage of these two Pokemon's best traits to have a solid matchup into several metagame threats. Aerodactyl is able to leverage its naturally high speed to outrun Pokemon like Charizard, Garchomp, Basculegion, and many metagame staples to fish for Rock Slide flinches and score KOs before the opposing Pokemon can even attack. However, it does struggle against Kingambit, as Kingambit can very easily tank any attack from Aerodactyl and one-shot it with its Iron Head. Hisuian Arcanine is able to similarly deal rock-type damage while having the ability to easily KO Kingambit off of its fire-type attacks, but it has a much lower speed tier, leading to it being outrun by several important Pokemon like Garchomp and some Charizards. Lycanroc Dusk is a midpoint between these two rock-type Pokemon, with it having a speed tier above Charizard, Garchomp, Mega Floette, and even some Sneasler, but its ability Tough Claws allows for it to even deal with Kingambit, which would otherwise be a check for its midday form. Lycanroc Midday's close combat will never KO a Kingambit after an Intimidate, but due to Tough Claws, Dusk form's close combat will always KO max HP Kingambit even after an Intimidate. Lycanroc Dusk can broadly be seen as the Regulation MA's Rock Type of the Week. This is a term that I've coined to describe a phenomenon that we see in this particular metagame. The Regulation MA metagame is so centralized around the top team in the format that I will once again be coining as Sunflower. It's a dual Mega team with both Mega Charizard Y and Mega Floette Eternal. Charizard Y is considered the face of Regulation MA as its good speed tier, sky-high special attack stat, and access to Drought to further boost its fire-type attacks has led to it being capable of leading games off and chunking teams to get things in range of cleanup Pokemon like Kingambit and Basculegion in the back. Arguably, this archetype's biggest weakness is physical rock-type Pokemon, because while it is capable of dealing with them via partner Pokemon like Basculegion, Garchomp, or Kingambit, the fact that both Mega options are either too physically frail to deal with or have a type disadvantage against rock-type attacks means that physical rock-type Pokemon are capable of immediately forcing this archetype to play more conservatively and less aggressive with their two main damage dealers. Before we continue, I want to remind you all to subscribe and turn on notifications on this channel to make sure you don't miss my metagame update videos. If you want to keep up with Pokemon Champions competitive circuit, this is definitely one of the channels that you're going to want to follow. So be sure to subscribe and comment down below what you think so far. Aerodactyl was the first rock type of the week in this metagame, with it being a Tailwind user that could spam Rock Slide and even Wide Guard to defend its partner Pokemon, with the next rock type of the week being its Mega form, who does exactly this, only faster and stronger. The next rock type of the week was Glimmora, as while it wasn't a physical attacker, it was able to one-shot both Charizard and Mega Aerodactyl, while being a poison type that walls out and deals massive damage to Mega Floette Eternal with Sludge Bomb. As a bonus, it would even set up Toxic Spikes on the opponent's side of the field after being hit by a physical attack thanks to its ability Toxic Debris. Just before the Indianapolis Regional Championships, the rock type of the week became Kleavor, a Pokemon who not only could use Stab Rock Slide, but has access to the exclusive move of Stone Axe, which would one-shot several Pokemon on Sunflower teams while setting Stealth Rocks, ensuring that if they tried to switch Charizard out and back in, it would take 50% of its health and damage. It even had close combat to deal with King Gambit, making it a threat to even that rock-type check. The next week, people started looking at Rockhead Hisuian Arcanine, who boasted the ability to deal massive damage off of not only Rock Slide, but Head Smash, which is a super powerful attack, and even Flare Blitz. Both Flare Blitz and Head Smash deal recoil damage to the user, however, with the ability Rockhead, Hisuian Arcanine took no recoil damage at all, meaning it could even be equipped with the Focus Sash to allow it to tank a hit. Finally, here we are at Lycanroc Duskmane. A metagame so centralized around the two best Mega Pokemon in the game, who are both weak to physical Rock-type attacks, has led to even one of the most forgotten Rock-type Pokemon finding a purpose on several teams. To put the blame solely on Mega Charizard Y and Mega Floette Eternal isn't entirely correct, even if it's, mostly correct, because recently Mega Frostlass teams have picked up quite a bit in usage again, thanks to Hisuian Arcanine successfully patching their most problematic matchup in Mega Charizard. And many Charizard Floette teams have swapped out their Charizards for Mega Delphoxes due to its less problematic but still existent weakness to Rock-type moves. On top of that, Mega Delphox does have the ability to play more aggressively against passive opponents by using Nasty Plot on certain turns to increase its special attack stat and deal even greater damage than Mega Charizard Y was capable of in Sun. Obviously, introducing more teams that primarily rely on physically frail Ice-type Pokemon or yet another Fire-type Pokemon has only exacerbated what I will, for the third time this video, be coining as Rock-type inflation, where a type that was already powerful and useful in competitive Pokemon, but only in the case of certain Pokemon within that type, has had its value to teams increased so much in such a short time that even the weakest among those types have managed to have good, if not great, tournament placements. There's an argument to be made that the ever-shifting metagame of Regulation MA is healthy due to the fact that it changes so frequently. But I would argue that in reality, Charizard Floette is still realistically the #1 team in the format, and only the counters to that team have been fluctuating in usage to respond to whatever the latest Sunflower technology might be. Lycanroc Dusk primarily exists on a Mega Frostlass team, consisting of those two Pokemon, Mega Scovillain, King Gambit, Sneasler, and Basculegion. This team plays similarly to most Frostlass teams in the format, with it using its Rock-type attacker to attempt to remove problematic Pokemon for the Mega Frostlass from play. But it fuses this iteration of Frostlass teams with an earlier concept for Mega Scovillain teams, with Mega Scovillain being able to redirect attacks away from setup Pokemon like Black Glass's Swords Dance King Gambit, and burning anything that manages to attack the Scovillain, thus allowing for King Gambit to deal heavy damage off of +2 Kowtow Cleave and Sucker Punch, and making the Sand matchup much more playable, which was previously seen as one of the more problematic Mega Frostlass matchups. When the vast majority of teams in the room consist of 3 archetypes that this team is attempting to, for lack of better terms, absolutely farm, it's no wonder that this team of 6 Pokemon saw such great results across the board at this event and was pretty clearly one of the better metagame calls. And while this Lycanroc didn't manage to win the event with its best finish being 5th place, it did kind of successfully gatekeep Charizard from winning the whole thing, as Marco Silva took the whole tournament home with his Floette Mega Gengar Perish Trap team. Unfortunately, of all the times that a Lycanroc player was streamed this weekend, there was only one match where Lycanroc was able to actually come to the game, at least as far as the stream games go. Obviously, on games that weren't streamed, these players faced opponents that did have a Mega Charizard Y or Delphox that would allow for Lycanroc to show up to most of those matches. The one game that Lycanroc did show up to on stream was unfortunately the match that Teo Gassini lost to get knocked out of the tournament in top 8. But the value that this Pokemon brings to Frostlass teams is undeniable, and while we may only have one more week of Regulation MA to see if Lycanroc manages to stick around, or if it'll be replaced by some other strange Pokemon like, I don't know, Rampardos, no matter what happens, nobody can take away the week that Lycanroc Dusk finally made an impact on competitive Pokemon. But what do you guys think about Lycanroc Dusk? Do you think it's strong? Do you think it's just going to be sort of a flavor of the week rock type? And what do you think is going to be the next one? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys want to support my channel, go ahead, click the join button down below or join my Patreon for as low as 99 cents a month. This will allow you to see your name at the end of all my videos like all my lovely patrons right here. And it'll also get you access to my Discord server where we team build and play tournaments every week. It also helps me pay for editing and just lets me do this full time without having to upload every single day. So if you guys want to help me out, go ahead and do that. But another way just to do that is to leave a like and subscribe and comment down below. Also, this weekend, I will be at the North American International Championships as a content creator. I didn't manage to get in as a competitor because I whiffed 4 waves of registration. If you guys want to come say hi to me, I think I'll schedule some kind of fan meetup. So follow me on Twitter and you'll figure out where that is. I'll also post it on the community tab. But I'll see you guys there. Have a nice one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.